Hi, good morning. Welcome to Creative Expressions. I'm Leesa with Leesa Boone Designs. I am a DIY paint retailer in Western Kentucky, right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, about 2 hours, give or take. I mean, that's our local airport. So, if you're ever in the Western Kentucky area, I would love it if you let me know if you're in driving distance and you want to come and check out my all of my things or meet me. I would love that. So today I have this canister. This is part of the stash that I've been slowly working on that my friend had brought over, things that she had thrifted and she was not going to be using anymore. She needed to downsize and declutter. And so she brought a whole bunch of stuff to me to the store. So all I did was I cleaned this, and this was full of hair. There's still some there, so I'm gonna have to work on it a little bit more. This mustardy yellow, there's nothing wrong with it, but I figured that we would jazz it up, make it dark and moody. We're going to be using Bohemian Blue. It is one of the DIY paint favorites. It is a dark, dark teal. Now, the thing with DIY paint is that, oh, I just realized I won't be able to see comments. Um, if you're here, let me know. I may have to run and get my iPad because I don't want to miss your comments. But the thing with DIY paint is that if you use just one color, you pick up some highs and some lows. And so there's a lot of interest that can happen, especially if you burnish it a little bit and if you wax it. But we're going to be putting an inlay over this. I do have a buffet, like a piece of, I don't know if it's a buffet or a chest, I can't remember now, that I did in just this color. Usually I like to blend with Bohemian Blue. It is the absolute perfect color for blending. I love it, but it's great on its own. And I have a stunning, stunning piece that I did. Let me try to get my iPad real quick. I apologize. All right. That when I go landscape in Switcher, I can't see comments. And I really want to be able to see your comments and follow along with you. All right, I see. And it's going to be hard because I'm actually streaming on my Facebook page, the DIY Paint Facebook page, and on YouTube. So if I do miss a comment, I will come back. I promise. Hi, Tonda. I see that you're watching. All right. So let me know if you've ever used DIY paint or if you've been wanting to use DIY paint but have been hesitant. Let me show you before we get started. The IOD inlay that I'm going to be using is Grasialle Toile. I love Toile, and this one is really, really beautiful. So if you've never used an IOD inlay, let me show you the back. It comes a little bit differently than the transfers because it's not a transfer. It's actually paint that's been painted on to this transfer sheet. And so this is kind of what it looks like. Well, there we go. Okay. It comes in separate sheets like this, and it has a grid on the back. Okay, so this is the back. You have to be careful because there's a front and there's a back. The paint is on one side, and sometimes it's hard to tell when it's really beautiful. You can actually feel it on here, and then the back side has the grid. And so, like I said, it's kind of hard sometimes. You have to really pay attention. We can make mistakes, right? Easily. So it comes like this, and what you want to do, and see how this cuts off here? This is a pattern. It's made to be look like wallpaper. So you're going to have to butt up all of the pages so that you can get a continuous pattern if that's what you're doing. So you're going to have to cut all of this off so that you can get them all together. Now let me show you what it looks like after one use. So I can't remember what color I used this on, but I used this and see how some of that paint lifted. So when I go to use it again on a second use, some of that paint is going to come off. I use DIY paint. So I have several sheets where I created, I don't even remember what I used it on. I can't remember. But it is it looked pretty. I remember it looking pretty because I did a dark color so that that white and creamy colors could pop. Actually, I have one more. So you want to let these dry after you use them, and then you can reuse them up to 3, maybe even 4 times. Now, the sheets in between, I like to keep those. You can stamp on them. You can use this for decoupaging. You can use this on a jelly print. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, so here's what I did. I'm going to go ahead and put these to the side. I used one sheet. I have another one just in case, and I cut it up. And we're going to put it on here. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to see it on my page. Okay. I see Sherry is on my page. Thank you for joining me. I forget that that automatic ATC is on my page. All right. So what I'm going to do is I wet my brush and look at that. Do you see that lusciousness? So technically with DIY paint and these dark colors, especially for things that are smalls, you know, like home decor, you could probably get away with one coat. I'm using the angled FA40. You see how it's a little bit distorted there, but it's a nice brush because of the angles. I can just cut in very easily. So you could get one coverage. See that? That's beautiful. And then you can seal it and be done. If you want to distress it slightly, you can distress it slightly and be done. Very easy, easy peasy, right? But with the inlays, you want one coat of paint down. You want it to dry, and then you put a second coat of paint. Now this is very textured, so we'll see how this goes. Um, I'm having to really work that in. But essentially, what's going to happen is that the inlay is going to basically grab on to the paint, and we're going to apply it wet. So it's going to be super fun. Now I know the inlays are a little bit more expensive, and so there's a lot of people that are having to try this. I did a poll on my on my email list at the end of last year. That poll is still there if you would like to take it. And I asked tons of questions, and I got some really great answers. And I'm going to be addressing a lot of those very coming soon in different lives or videos that I do. But one thing, and I knew this, I knew that it was going to be an issue because of the price. People are hesitant because the inlays are um, different. It's not a transfer, and so it's different. And so people have some apprehension about trying it because they feel like they're going to mess it up, and they don't want to mess up something that, they spent a good bit of money on. So I understand that. The inlays usually come in about 8 sheets. Some of them, some really smaller ones the sisters have, just because I guess, they understand. And if you have something smaller, you could play with it and learn a little bit more about how to use it. I'm going to go ahead and start drying this. So that's a great way to try inlays if you have not already. Just buy one of the smaller ones that have a lot of small projects It's more doable. And then you can try the bigger ones. But I want to take away some of the scariness about it. I'm going to show you, watch how DIY paint changes color. I'm trying to do it so that I don't mess it up. Look at the difference when this dries. It's so incredible. But the inlays are actually super, super fun. And there's different ways that you can do it. And you can use them, like I said, up to 3, even 4 times. You can even decoupage them on, especially after you use them a couple of times. That would be really a great way to utilize it. So while they're a little bit more expensive than the transfers, you really do get a big bang for your buck. Now, DIY paint, I feel like it is the best to work with as far as in general, I love DIY paint. It's a clay-based paint. There's nothing in it, and it's safe. It's non-toxic. You can do so many different techniques with it, but I feel like it is such a great way to play with the inlays because you can literally, if I wanted to start this project and I could not finish it till next week, because there's no sealer in DIY paint, you could leave the inlay on and then take it off a week later. Now, if you're using a sealer, like let's say I did a blending technique and I did, some really nice paint work, and you could use liquid patina, I would definitely take that off the same day. I know some people have left it on the next day. I've not tried that. That's kind of, I wouldn't want to try that myself because I know it worked really well. But maybe I should force myself. Maybe I should do that with a small piece and then give you the results of what I find. Because you know what? Sometimes what works for one person doesn't work for another person, right? Like, isn't that the truth? So I'm just drying this up really well. Being careful because I'm using this heat gun, and like this is still hot, that one. So you have to be careful not to burn your hands because you really can hurt yourself. I've done it. I've done it on the live. I burnt my arm, and that's that tender area. I hit it with that silver tip. I had a burn mark for a long time. All right. So don't you just love this color? Let me know in the comments if you've tried DIY paints, if you've tried the inlays, what your experience is. Give me some feedback and let me know specifically what you think about Bohemian Blue. I've talked about this before. One of my favorite ways to use Bohemian Blue is to blend it. And I love, love, love to blend it with water lily. Oh my word, how gorgeous. I need this to like settle down a little bit. So I'm gonna, yeah, Bohemian Blue with water lily is like amazing, amazing. I've done it a time and I absolutely love it. I'm gonna take a little sip. I think I'm looking at this. It looks a little bit dark. I hope it's okay. I didn't bring the ring light. I'm in the front of the store, and there's windows all around me. But I still tried to bring the ring light, but it's just like too much today. Too much. There's too much going on. All right. It's still really hot. All right. So if you have any questions about the inlays, let me know. And I'm going to do something a little bit different. So this inlay is portrait. I'm actually going to lay it landscape just because I want to fill this up. And I thought I'm going to use this as one of those small projects. And I only wanted to use one. I have some other sheets that I might could bring into this thing, like especially some of this one that like that flower, I could cut this out that didn't get utilized, or this one, that might happen. So let's see. We'll see. With this inlay, I'm going to use it in sections because I need to lay this down, and because it's that like octagon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, six sides, whatever that is. I'm gonna have to lay it down, so I can only do like one section at a time. I just saw sharing. It's it's okay, it went away. There we go. Good afternoon. Hello, Nathaniel Boone. Love that color. I know. Hey, Renee from Rainy Day Vintage. She's in the house. It's like a stamp. No, it's not like a stamp. It's a certain surface that should be used for this process. No, you can do this on anything. That's what's so great. The inlays work with the paint. So whatever you can paint, you can inlay. Isn't that awesome? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. I am going to, all right, I think I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to leave my little critter. I just love him. Um, okay, I have to make sure I hold it the right way. So I'm going to use this critter. I think I only want one of the birds. There's also like monkeys and yeah, other, or maybe squirrels. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of critters. There's a squirrel. Okay, I'm going to show this to you again. So if you wanted a continuous pattern, you could just figure out what page was paid, which, and then lay them out. If you want to do this as a continuous pattern, the best thing to do is to have a little table to the side and lay them out in the order of how they need to go. So you could see how you can create a beautiful pattern, or you could just use the inlays like in the inset or whatever. And here, like on the black, look how pretty that looks. So let's give you examples. The bottom, and see all these different animals here. They're really super cute. So we're gonna see what else we add to it. But I think I only want one critter. All right, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and get this started. I'm gonna move that to the side. I don't want to get anything on here. So you want a decent amount of paint on here. You don't want it to be too thick, because if it's too thick, I need to wet this a little bit. It's hot, so it's probably too much water. I'm going to add a little bit more paint. It's hot, so it's going to dry fast. So what you want to do is get the paint on there. I'm going to wet this, because that one is going to wrap around. You kind of want to move fast. And because the whole thing is that the paint has to be wet. That is the key. And like I said, you don't want it too thick, but you don't want it that thin either. You want a good amount of paint, because that's already fast. That's already getting dry. All right, I'm going to do it this way so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I missed a spot. All right, what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this. I'm going to pre-wet my paper. It's going to help it to be just a little bit pliable, and it's going to help it to stick. So you just want to be careful with your paper. So it's just a little bit shy of, so I'm going to worry about the bottom part, and I'm going to go ahead and try to lay this as straight as possible. All right, and then I'm just going to, I've got a sponge, and we're going to use that here in a second. I don't want to forget. Now, I like the creases. If you don't like the creases, try to work them out. You have a few minutes that you can play with this. All right, so now what you want to do. Oh, there was no design on that part. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet this. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm going to tell you what that is here in a second. I'm going to wet this, because what that's going to do And then I'm going to use my sponge to really get it in there and lay this out. So this is it. This is, the technique. And everyone has done it in slightly different ways. And that's the thing. You have to play with it. You have to figure out what works best for you. I've got some paint on the outside. All right. If you have any excess paint, water, just kind of blot it out. You want this to be wet. The water is what reactivates it. The water is what gets that Bohemian blue to take in the paint that's on the inlay. All right. Love your creativity. Thank you. Is it okay? Thank you so much. All right. So now the good thing about this is that you can use a heat gun and you can dry this. I wasn't sure the very first time I did it. I was hesitant too. And I tried it and it worked. And I was like, oh, this is great. Because I thought you had to let it dry all on its own. I'm going to do it slow. Now, here's one of the things that happens when you're using a design that's repetitive and you're trying to butt up all of your edges. See how there's a straight line? If I were to really press that in, because I'm butting up two pieces of paper and I press that in really, really solidly, you're gonna get a line. You're gonna get lines in your design. So if you don't like that, you can, because it's DIY paint, you can wet it and you can use your finger. I can't remember who did that, and I thought that's genius. That's genius. And then you could just smudge it. You can add a little bit more paint. If something doesn't come off very well and it's missing some pieces, you could take some DIY paint. You could take prairie gray and crinoline is what I would maybe use for these colors. Let's see, look at the colors. I know it's dark because I don't have my ring light. So, but you can paint it in. You can add to it. You could add a transfer on top, put a butterfly, bird. Um, make it your own. So the key here is this has to be completely dry. You want this to be completely dry, and then you're going to wet it again. So first step, you paint your first coat. Then you paint a second coat. You apply your inlay and you smooth it out. And then you dry it. Well, you missed it on the top. And then, you really get it down there, let it dry. And see, you can tell. You can tell when it's dry. See, that's really wet. Can you see that? Get that down a little bit. Oh, I guess the sun is being hidden by some clouds. It got dark all of a sudden. I apologize. But see how you can tell that it's drying because it changes colors. Now, white paint changes light, a lighter tone of the color when it's dry. All right, let me hit this a little bit hotter. See if we can get this moving. All right, I'm going to do this side here without moving it because I know that this is going to be super hot. So that's the key. You want it to be completely dry. And this is why you could actually walk away. You can walk away for a couple of hours and just let it dry on its own. Of course, DIY paint dries super fast. 30 minutes to an hour, depending on your temperature, it's going to be dry. You could leave this overnight. So if you're doing this at nighttime, you wake up in the morning, then you can come and reveal your masterpiece. Taking a little bit to dry. Let me see if I can just go a little bit hotter. It seems crazy because you're painting, then you're drying. You're painting, then you're drying. And then you're wetting in between and all of that. But it really does make a difference. I would any recommendation temperature on your heat tool. I usually try to do it low. When I'm on live, I probably do it high. Um, as far as the water, I do try to use my bottled water. Um, I try to use my bottled water. So what I did was I put in my water bottle a little bit of my water and the sealer. So about half and half. So I poured about this much sealer and then this much water. And what we're going to do is we're going to spray this to seal it because it's actually wet paint. And I have chanced it before. I'm going to go ahead and spray this. I have chanced it and I've done a light hand. If you're heavy handed when you paint, you definitely do not want to seal this with a brush. You definitely want to do a spray sealer. I prefer using a big top because it's non-toxic and it works with DIY paint. You use like if you use a spray can, which you could, it alters DIY paint. So just keep that in mind. All right. I think it might need a little bit more water. Okay, I'm gonna do it like this so that you could see it. Ooh, that heat was hot. Okay, it might need a little bit more water. Let's see. Okay, so if you experience, you want to let it sit for a minute after you've wet it. Did I say that part? Um, that I didn't get that down very well, so we'll see. Sometimes it comes out absolutely perfect, and sometimes it comes out, you know, a little bit um, old and vintagey. And see, I like it like that. So see, if you have a little bit of resistance, then add more water. Okay. I don't like the perfection. I like it to look old. Okay. So see here, I'm gonna put this here to the side and let that dry. Can you see it? I think these colors look amazing together. Okay, so I'm going to put this is wet. I want my critter, making sure which is up, which is down. I'm going to put my critter here. And then I might fill in with some flowers. So let's see. See how that goes. Okay, so I'm going to wet this. I'm going to apply my second coat. If you have blended, oops, just totally. And see, I got it on the rib, but that's okay. It's DIY paint, right? I can literally just take it right off with a wipe. No worries at all. Okay, I'm gonna wet my paper. So wait, no. This is the painted side. I'm gonna wet it. It just helps to release it. It really does. And see how the paper just kind of melts a little bit? I'm going to put my critter. I think I want to do it like this. Oh, and you know what I didn't even, you could do this. You can use so I want this to come around. And I'm going to lift this up slightly and get this to come down. And it's not terribly fragile. So I'm going to wet it. Okay. And pop that up. I think this is gonna look so good. So see how because I went down low because I wanted this bird in right here. That's how I wanted him. So this is really low. You could paint some extra limbs there if you wanted, or just leave it as it is because it's old and it looks rustic and it's fine. If it bothers you, put something on there or paint something in. All right, so we're gonna dry this up. Thank you, Sherry, for saying it's beautiful. I think it looks really good too. And see, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to find, see that beautiful blue color now? I can take this and I can put it on a different color and I can get some of that Bohemian blue. So then it looks like it's wallpaper or like, paint layers of paint, like something, European or something like that, where there's layer and plaster and paint and wallpaper. It just comes out looking super, super cool. So I'm going to see what I can do next and use this paper. So when you get, see how much, but look at the flowers. See how much paint there's still left on there? So we can get a really, really good project out of it. I always want to say, like, well, I mean, it's an inlay. I mean, it's inlay into the paint, but it's hard to understand the concept, like if you've not tried it, but it really is amazing. The sisters did a great job with the inlay idea. And there's nothing else like it. This is the first of its kind, so revolutionary. Okay, I think that's dry. Okay, so now we're going to just make sure. Okay, love the end result. Thank you. It really, like, I know that it's a little bit intimidating. I get it. I do. Because when I first saw it, I thought, what? Like, what? But it is super cool. It really is. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that sit there for just a second. Maybe a little bit dry, maybe a little bit more water. Okay, it's hot. So that water is soaking up so fast. That's what's good about not using a heat gun. Just let it dry naturally, and you would probably get a better result if you're wanting a really, really perfect. I'm gonna try it this way. Okay, I can't see. So see, this is a lot easier because it's wet. See? So look at how much paint is on there. That's going to be great. I'm going to put this here. I really like that. All right, let me try this and let me look. I'm going to hit this with the heat gun really quickly so that I can see if I want to add anything else to it, to the other side. I don't know. So I don't want it to get messed up. That's why I'm going to hit and dry it. Okay, so let's see. So, okay, let me lift this out. That might be easier. Okay. So I feel like I do need to add something here because this is so full. So what I'm going to do is cut out. Is this the one? What I have. I'm going to cut out one of the ones that didn't get used. Like that leaf might be really good for a little spot. And I have these too. So like I cut, oh, I'm sorry. I cut these out so I can fill these in also. Like this is from my one sheet. So I still have like a half of a leaf that I can put out. Um, and so like see, like these are great for the corners. I love to do that with the transfers also. Like see what I mean? Watch. So if this bothered you, you could take this right here, apply some paint, and then it looks like that the cover is actually perfect. Let me do it so you can see. Try not to get your piece. I'm gonna have to do some cleanup there. Okay, I'm gonna wet this. I'll try the right side. Just so you can see you can, I'm not gonna spray that. All right, you can do this. I don't think I have any paint there, so I'm not gonna wrap that around. I'm gonna wet that carefully. Maybe I'll do it this way so that I don't mess up. Because you want that to be wet. Okay. So as that's sitting there, I think I can do this. Okay. I'm gonna work on that side. Now I wonder if I should just do the same thing where I can add a little bit here to fill in. I can add this one here. All right, let's see. Or I can save that for a small little project. I really, really like. Okay, I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna go right up to where I painted before so that there's nothing there. And I'm going to do this like this. Or maybe I should do this one up here. And do this one down here. And it's got like, you know, unfinished leaf. Let's see, if I wanted to add a little line, I could connect those two. And I'm probably not, to be honest with you. But you could if that's what you wanted to do. Okay. Not sure if I need to wrap this one around. I had a little bit of a chunk there. You don't want that. Okay, I'm gonna wet this. Oh, I forgot. I have some paint here. See, look at that. So I can just lift that up. And I'm just going to get that down. And I still miss a little bit. So see, I mean, it really is super forgiving. Need a little bit more paint right there. I hope that this inspires you to try an inlay. You really want to, the more that you press that in, that's what's good about the brayer. The more that you press it in, the better adhesion. I guess that's the word I want to say. The for your project. And honestly, I really feel like if you just leave it alone and let it dry, it does better as well. But like I said, I like chippy, layered personally. I like that age, worn in look. Okay, I'm gonna wet this. And I'm just gonna wrap this around. See that? See that? Did you see? And see, it's fine. Okay, so be careful when it's wet. Right. Slippery when wet. All right. Who knows that? Who knows Bon Jovi? So until you really get it, smash it in there, you really do have some wiggle room. I promise. Okay. I definitely don't want to get Bohemian Blue on me today. All right, so let me know by show of hands. Hey, Callie, you've not used your little pieces? Well, now you have to, because now uh, you can be creative with this product. Absolutely, you can. Are there a lot of other designs and links? Yes. Go on my website, leesaboonedesigns.com, and you can. Yes, I can see you today, Kelly. I just didn't look up, but I just looked up, so I saw you. You can go on my website, leesaboonedesigns.com, and you can see the inlay options that I have in stock, and I do ship everywhere in the U.S. If you're interested, along with DIY paint. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's what number? What time am I at? Am I at? I'm gonna dry this. Callie, you have to use the inlays today. What better time than today? You're retired. Yeah, I know you're doing your ATCs every day, which I'm so proud of you. One a day, you're being so creative. So take a moment, grab a piece of home decor. You have paint, you have inlay straps. Get to it, girl. I want to see a picture. I'm calling you out. I want to see a picture of a little project. And it's a little project. Listen, girl, use it on an ATC. Use some paint on the ATC and then put an inlay on it. You can absolutely do that. Sherry had just asked me before, you know, if you can do it on any surface. Yeah, whatever you can paint, you can apply a inlay or a transfer. I love using transfers on ATC cards. He said, "Ha!" She said, "Okay." All right, you heard it here, guys. Callie's gonna try inlays today for the first time. That's all. No pressure, right? I just called you out. You know, everybody that follows me on YouTube, Facebook, and DIY Paint just heard. All right, this is really hot. I can see the steam. I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. Again, if you feel resistance, I didn't even get that down at all, that corner. If you feel resistance, add more water. That's it. That's all there is to it. Like, and this is completely unique, one of a kind. Oops, I forgot to let that, I need to let that dry. So let me go ahead and hit this one. See if I can get this in there. I don't think I really pushed that in. Yeah, no, I didn't. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that little tree limb, little twig. Okay. Let me do it like this. Because if I wet this, I can smudge this very easily. Because again, it's just wet. Oh, nope. Okay, so this one, I messed it up. I'm not sure. I didn't get it in there good enough. So there you go. You have to really get it in there. Let me see if I can. What time is it? 4:46. Here, let's try it again. Well, that's actually too big. I'm just gonna leave it alone because it doesn't really bother me. But the key is you really have to get it in there, and it was kind of sitting on top, and so it just took the Bohemian paint. Oh, but for the most part, I have this little piece. I'm gonna put that to the side. For the most part, everything worked out really well. And see, with DIY paint, I can just take my baby wipe and wet distress it or clean it up. Clean up all of the where I got it on the rim. This was already there, this little smudge thing. It's not coming up. So I don't think that I'm going to leave this dark. I think I'm going to add some gold to it because I think it would look really, really good. I love gold with Bohemian Blue. And so just to remind you, especially if you came on late, this is what it looked like before. And now it looks like an exotic piece, doesn't it? I love the way that it looks. So I will have to cut some pieces off and maybe put some here, but I might just leave this just Bohemian Blue. I think I am. I think I'm just going to leave this and then I'm going to add the touches of gold. So now, how do we seal this? You asked, right? Inquiring minds want to know. Remember, we put this in the spray bottle. Now, here's the tip. When you do this, make sure after you have sprayed this through that you open this up and you run this through water several times and clean it out. Otherwise, you will clog it. So if you love your spray bottle, it's better to use an old one, beat up one. But I didn't have one here, so I just used one of my good ones. But I will go ahead and clean it off. So this is what you want to do. Just spray it, leave it alone, let it dry. Let me see if I can. I should have had a lazy Susan. See if I can. This way I can work on it all together and not have to wait. This is dripping a little bit. Okay. That was really wet because I couldn't see it right there. Okay. So, um, perfect timing because somebody's about to walk in. So I've went ahead and I sprayed this. Um, Hello, how are you? So we're gonna get a piece of vinyl. Okay, what vinyl? Okay, can you give me 1 second? I'm on a live. All right, so we sprayed this we sealed it. We're gonna let this dry all the way. If this was a piece of furniture, I would go ahead and do a second coat of that, let it dry, and then take my brush and really seal it. You could also, after this, use wax and seal it. But see how much darker it got and how moody? This is why I say we're going to create something really moody. So how beautiful does this look? So all I have left to do is let this sit here and dry, paint this top, and add some gold. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Please sprinkle this out. I am trying to increase all of the things. So I need subscribers on YouTube. If you can subscribe and watch some videos, I would appreciate it. I finally got to 1,800, so I'm so excited. And then trying to boost my Facebook followers as well. So if you could help me out, that would be great. So go ahead and sprinkle this, follow, sub. I would greatly appreciate it. Go on my website, leesaboondesigns.com. If you're looking for an inlay, DIY paint, and I have tons of other products as well. I ship in the US, so continental USA. So anyway, I hope you guys have an incredibly blessed day.